Hiya. We're going to make a vlog about trying to repair a very old and distressed guitar and see if we can get it back to a playable state for Joseph. This guitar that I'll show you a picture of in a minute was the very first second-hand electric guitar I bought, and that was probably about 30 plus years ago, and it was old then. So we're going to take it apart and then we're going to see what happens when we put it back together again. Hope you enjoy. Bye. Right, the first thing we're going to do is basically strip everything back off the guitar. We've already taken the strings off, so we're just going to take it apart. See what happens.
We're going to start by removing the second pickup. We've already taken the first one out, so at least we kind of know how it's going to work. I'm going to take the corner screws out first, because they're the ones that just hold the bit round the outside, because the middle screws seem like they're the ones that actually hold the pickup in place. Okay, as you might guess from a very old guitar, some of these screws are really rusty and I've just lost it, and I think I'm actually going to have to use brute force and ignorance just to get this pickup guard off. So apologies to anybody who feels really sad about this. There we go. Job done. So now the pickup is just free and floating, attached with its wire that goes down to the controllers. The screws hold springs, so they just keep everything in place. Going to cut this off and see what happens next. Joseph thinks that the guitar looks in a pretty sorry state now with both pickups removed. So we're going to carry on and take the rest of the hardware off, take the neck off, and take the tuning devices off and see what happens then. As you'll see, we've got 3 of the knobs off really quite easily. Joe just pulled them off, but this last one's really on tight. Something's happened inside the top of the knob at some point, so we're just having to use a little bit of brute force again to try and get her off, hopefully without doing any real damage.
Do you want to use?
Hang on.
No.
We'll come back to you when it's finished. As you'll see, we had a real battle getting this knob off. I think what's happened over time is that the plastic inside the knob became very much attached to the end of the controller, and we've knocked the paintwork a little bit doing it, but part of the plan is to get a sander and get this all cleaned up anyway and put a new finish on it. So we're going to now take the tone knobs off and take the tuners off. Alright, we'll see you in a minute. Right, so the pots are out, but we can't take all the electrics out yet, as horrible as they look, because they're obviously still attached to the pickup switch and to the output at this end. So we'll take a few more minutes and take those out, and hopefully we can just strip the electrics completely out of her. Right guys, there you go, the guts of an old electric guitar. Poor thing, it's like the entrails of a dog. Okay, we've gathered together the bits and pieces that we might want to use again. And now Joe, what are we going to do?
We're going to take out these tuners.
Okay, that's the first screw out. We'll come back to you when they're all off. Okay, Joe, you've now removed the tuning pegs, and
Let's remove the neck.
yeah, I think the neck's going to come off next. Interestingly, when we've been looking at this, it looks like there's something wedged into the gap between the body and the neck. So who knows what's in there, but let's hope the neck comes off in one piece. Let's get a screwdriver on it. What do you think, Joe?
Yep. Yeah, there's something definitely in here.
Okay, that's super. Let's get these screws out and we'll do a reveal in a minute if we can find out what is inside there. Right, Joe's now removed the screws from the back of the neck, taken the neck plate off. Let's have a look. Okay, Joe, what have we got there?
Cardboard here.
So at some point, and I can guarantee it's not been done while I've owned the guitar, so at some point 30 odd years ago, somebody inserted 2 nice sheets of cardboard. Do you want to turn her over so we can see inside the body as a whole, Joe?
Yeah.
So whoever you are who inserted the cardboard 30 odd years ago, we finally found your message. Right, I think now just the pegs to put the strap on, and then everything's removed, and I think that'll be the end of part 1. Okay folks, she's now completely empty and devoid of life. In taking her apart, we've come to a conclusion. We'd initially thought, hadn't we, Joe?
Yes.
We'd initially thought we'd try and sand it down and give it a new finish. But it's very plain when you look actually at the top and here where some of the bindings come away. That basically she's just chipboard. And that the veneer is very thin on the top and on the back. So there ain't a lot to sand it down to. So I think what we're going to try and do, we're going to do some research before we get onto this, is take some of the shine off this paint and maybe just give it a paint job with some car paint or something like that. Maybe give it a touch of the Eddie Van Halen, Joe, with some tape and stuff, and see where we go from there. Before we try and stick some guts back in her. Alright, that's it for now. And join us for episode 2. I'm not sure when that'll be up.